everyone, and welcome to Unveiling Truths, Demystifying Apprenticeships. I'm your host, Dr. Christina Robinson, Executive Director of Work-Based Learning and Industry Partnerships, and my co-host today is Mr. James Carnes, Department of Labor Representative. Today, we're diving into the world of apprenticeships, particularly focusing on busting the myths surrounding them. Why, you may ask? Because it is National Apprenticeship Week for youth. And this week, what better time to debunk those misconceptions and shed light on the real benefits of apprenticeships, especially for our youth. Youth apprenticeships represent a vital bridge between education and employment, offering our young individuals the opportunity to gain valuable skills and hands-on experience in various industries while earning a wage in today's rapidly evolving job market. There is a growing recognition of the need for alternative pathways to traditional education. We will discuss a few of those today. Today's show is sponsored by the HCC Gulf Coast Region Apprenticeship Hub and the Department of Labor. We have a great lineup of panelists for you, so let's get started. James, can you tell us a little bit about your role and a little bit of background on Youth Apprenticeship Week?
Certainly, Christina. My name is James Carnes. I'm an apprenticeship and training representative serving Southeast Texas. I've served in this role for over 20 years, and I've watched apprenticeship undergo a renaissance, if you will, from primarily in only the craft trades to covering and spanning almost every industry in the United States. And I'm proud to say I play an active role in it. One of the things that we do here in the planning and workforce development implementation is to ensure that there are opportunities to all communities, to underserved communities, all backgrounds. You don't have to be a particular member of a club, or if you will, to enter apprenticeship programs. There are many types of apprenticeship programs. As a matter of fact, there are 4 different types of which we will either delve in now or possibly later in the way that they're designed. But today, Youth Apprenticeship Week is our primary focus. It's an annual event, actually the first annual event as a follow-on to our National Apprenticeship observed in November. This one is dedicated to the raising awareness of the importance of apprenticeship programs, specifically for young individuals entering the workforce. During this week-long celebrations, organizations and educational institutions alike will observe this particular event, and we'll dive deeper into some of the resources, educating the youth and the employers of many resources and benefits that may be available to them by engaging in the registered apprenticeship program. And they're numerous. Anyway, I thank you for being here today.
Thank you, James. In fact, between 2010 and 2020, a total of 389,860 16 to 24-year-olds started a registered apprenticeship program. The number of youth apprentices per year has grown steeply from 18,877 to 40,293, representing a 113% increase. And much of that is thanks to our amazing employers. In fact, youth apprenticeships continue to grow across the country. And according to Young Invincible's Building a Path to Apprenticeship report, currently the largest industries with apprenticeship programs are those that have a long history of active programs, notably construction at 48.7%, manufacturing at 26.5%, which comprise nearly 75% of all programs in Texas. But many industries have occupations that are apprenticeable, according to the Department of Labor. And we here at HCC in the Gulf Coast region have taken advantage of that opportunity by adding programs like insurance and healthcare. For example, 28% of education and health services occupations are now classified as apprenticeable. Yet only 7.7% of active apprentices are registered in those industries. So we need to get working. So James, what industries or sectors typically offer youth apprenticeships, or apprenticeship opportunities? And are there any emerging fields that you're aware of?
Yes, Christina. Actually, there are. Typically, you'll see youth apprenticeship in healthcare and information technology and other finance and insurance related industries. One of the advantages is these tend to all have less physical hazards, and we can actually begin their apprenticeship, which can actually start as early as 16, as opposed to other industries that may involve hazards where the minimum employment age is 18. So that gives us a leg up and an opportunity for those students to grow and continue their pathways through those industries. Something that people don't realize is that you can sometimes complete one apprenticeship and actually move to another related apprenticeship and grow even more within a company from a role as a patient care technician and enter as an RN and complete a second one. We would like to see apprenticeship become to the point that it is recognized as a viable career option in every industry.
I know we have seen so much change over the last year with areas such as solar and green energy and wastewater. And I know we're super excited to build these. How do we convince these employers that pre-apprenticeship, for example, is a great avenue leading to apprenticeship?
Okay, so first, let's examine pre-apprenticeship. Pre-apprenticeship is a preparatory period to assess and allow people to gain skills or develop or review skills that they may have not had before, or expose them to the information. This is kind of a early courting period, if you will. This is when the person determines, yes, this is definitely for me, and that passion can be ignited. Then they typically would choose a track. If, say, there were 3 different offerings, the one that would suit them. Pre-apprenticeship, unlike registered apprenticeship, can vary in duration. It can vary in subjects, and it is more generalized than the very specifics that apprenticeship addresses as far as occupations go. It helps you become familiar with a typical work environment that you would be in from day to day. But pre-apprenticeship is more than that. It's also a predictor of success in their apprenticeship program. Most of the people, I would say probably 80 to 90% of pre-apprenticeship completers successfully complete their registered apprenticeships because they're going in completely aware of the challenges that are ahead of them. The second thing is that pre-apprenticeships can be used to find a population that would otherwise be qualified, but they've never been exposed to that subject matter, and determine if they can stand the academic rigors that can sometimes exist in a pre-apprenticeship program. So those are kind of the things that we see entering factors entering the workforce.
Awesome. Well, thanks, James, for that information. I know pre-apprenticeships are so hot right now. If you're interested in pre-apprenticeships, definitely stay with us. Next on our show, we have some special guests today. I'd like to welcome, first of all, joining us, Maria Darby, Chief Operating Officer of Dwyer Workforce Development, an expert in workforce development and apprenticeship programs. Welcome to the show, Maria.
Thank you so much for having me, Dr. Robinson. It's a pleasure to be here celebrating apprenticeships.
And our second guest today is Ashley Strickland, HR business partner with Texas Mutual, who has firsthand experience dealing with apprentices and navigating this crazy world we have.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here and talk to you guys about the apprenticeship programs that we have.
Thank you, Ashley. So let's jump right in. Apprenticeships often come with a lot of misconceptions, hence our show today. Can you all each give us a little bit of background? Maria, if you can give us a little bit of background on Dwyer, and what are some of the biggest myths that you've encountered?
Sure. So Dwyer Workforce Development has a mission to create a healthcare career entry for all people. So really focusing on addressing the staffing crisis in healthcare, as well as providing wraparound support for individuals to make sure they're successful in this experience. We really want people to start as a CNA. That's our apprenticeship program. They start as a CNA, and then while we offer them the wraparound supports, and then create an opportunity in this competency-based apprenticeship to move on to future, as James was talking about, nurse, RN, as an LP, LVN, or an RN as they progress in their careers. But one of the most common myths, that apprenticeships are only for those who aren't academically inclined. And that couldn't be further from the truth. Not everyone is necessarily interested in colleges, and nothing to do whether they could do it or not, right? This is about on the ground learning right from the very beginning, that earn while you learn, as you were talking about that. It gives you hands-on practical experience to learning that is incredibly beneficial for the individual of all academic backgrounds.
Thank you, Maria. Absolutely. As someone who works with apprenticeship programs, Ashley, what has your experience like? Have you encountered any misconceptions along the way?
Well, I think that there's this misconception that you have to be right out of college. It's something that comes right from high school to us, right? And that could be further from the truth. 3 out of our 4 apprentices that we have currently are job change seekers later in life, and they're looking for something different. But so not only do you get a diverse group of people that you get to learn from in your apprenticeship, but also, you could be next to someone who has life experience that you didn't expect, So coming from high school or not, we want everybody to have this opportunity.
Thanks, James.
Well, thank you again for sharing this with us. The roles that they're currently using, the occupations, if you will, in our particular speak, Texas Mutual is leveraging apprenticeship in a most effective manner by our observations. We're actually able to see the metrics at a distance from our office and see the success that you're enjoying with issues like retention. I would like to, I'm really interested in deep diving even more in finding out what techniques you use as far as communication with your apprentices, because there's a variety of personalities that may show up and enter, and how that you face that challenge.
And can you tell us a little bit about Texas Mutual?
Yes, absolutely. So Texas Mutual is a workers' comp company. We are solely workers' comp insurance, hoping and working towards creating a better and safer Texas through workers' comp. And what that means is reaching out to the communities throughout Texas. We have offices in Austin, Dallas, Lubbock, Houston, and our corporate office is in Austin. So what we do is we, help individuals who have been hurt on the job to navigate through that process. So our apprentices come aboard learning from in claims adjusting. So they're learning claims adjusting from the ground up. So they come in, they have their welcome onboarding with me and their teams, and it is a team effort. Excuse me. We have mentors within their teams along with their supervisors and the manager of the claims department really supporting these individuals. It really does take a village, and we want to make sure that they feel that support, not just from myself or from their direct manager, but from their team as a whole. So they come in as a claims assistant apprentice, learning from the ground up how the documents, the mailing, who gets what forms, and then into medical only adjusting. So learning what that looks like on the medical end, and then finally into indemnity and learning the full circle of claims adjusting and understanding what it looks like from the beginning to the end of that claim.
And we recently had one of your apprentices on the show, and he was saying what keeps them there is the family environment. Mm-hmm. And that was just fantastic to hear.
Yes, absolutely.
So Ashley, could we talk about another myth, the idea that apprenticeships don't lead to successful careers? What is the potential professional development within your industry? typically.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's simply just not true. We offer our apprentices a full-time position once they complete the program. Even if there's not an opening, we make an opening for them, and also give them the opportunity to shadow other departments throughout their apprenticeship to allow them really a little tidbit of what other opportunities there would be within our organization. So we do have claims adjusting, but we have underwriting, we have safety services, we have special investigations, and we also have different regions. So they could potentially, if they wanted to explore Dallas or Lubbock, or Austin, they could absolutely do that.
Awesome.
Mhm.
So I know, Maria, you have over 50 locations just here in Texas, right?
That's correct.
So how has apprenticeship contributed to the career growth for your apprentices? What are you seeing?
Yeah. So first of all, apprenticeships are really just the first step in your career journey with us. As an apprentice, it gets you in the door, right, immediately. And as Ashley was talking about, then you have a role automatically. We create that opportunity to make sure that you have a next step, right after your apprenticeship is over. And you are, in some ways, have a leg up because you've had this very intensive experience from a competency-based place, but you also have this one-on-one mentor experience that has supported your personal and professional growth in that role. So for us, we say, like, this is a gift to our facilities, all the nursing homes in Texas that we run, because you come in with hands-on experience far beyond the sort of 40 hours of clinical experience you have as part of a traditional CNA program. So that makes you highly sought after among not only the facilities that you started with, but among our whole, cadre of facilities that are in the Texas area. And so we really want you to stay with us. Like, our goal is to say, like, where are you now? This apprenticeship created the opportunity for you to get an exposure to healthcare, to senior care, to determine if this is the right place for you. And then as you finish that, there's all these next places. So whether that's to move on to become a patient tech or a med tech, a farm tech, you want to get your LVN, certification or RN certification. Those are places that we have in our company across the board, but also makes you marketable wherever you choose to go. Our goal is for you to want to stay with us and experience that, because you have growth and you're getting continued experience and mentorship. But we know that this positions you for a long-term career in healthcare, however you choose to pursue that. And that's so important to the sector, because we know we're all getting older. If nothing else, we're all getting older, and you need to have people that are experienced and committed to this field to be able to fulfill not only the current roles, but what is projected to be the future roles for those serving older adults as they age.
Absolutely. So one of the big things we hear about is that you all offer a lot of support transition, Maria. So can you talk a little bit about youth apprentices? Obviously, they encompass a range of measures for smooth progression within your program through apprenticeship. Can you talk a little bit about what those support services are that you're currently providing and how crucial those are to facilitate that transition?
Yeah, because that no one graduates from school and knows how to work. Like, just regardless of their career, like, no one knows what it's like to go from an academic experience and really move right into a career, right, where you have responsibilities that are significant. And so the apprenticeship program helps bridge that gap. But for us, we know there are other things that sort of are challenging for all of us as we progress in our career. And that can be what we call them sort of wraparound support services. So all of our apprentices have the benefit of not only the mentor in the workplace, meaning that they're, learning how to do the role and they're making sure they're clinically capable and are growing in that. We also have a service navigator that we pair with them to make sure that they're sort of, having support in the learn to work, right? The concept of what's it like to show up? So what are the soft skills necessary? How do you have important conversations with your employer as you kind of determine what your goals are, what there's other, skills that you still need, or there are other pieces of information that you need as you continue to grow. But we also know we experience the real life challenges, right? It's a complicated world out there. And so our navigators also help address issues of transportation, if you're struggling with that, or budgeting, looking at childcare, if that's a situation that you're in. How do you plan for and manage all the other wraparound life experiences. If you might be experiencing food insecurity or housing insecurity, trying to navigate the kind of, I call it all the pieces of the puzzle of being an adult and starting to be in a career, as opposed to maybe a job that you've been in other ways, which looks different, right? And you're in senior care in particular, it's a regulated industry, as so many are. And you need to make sure that we are preparing young people in particularly for what it's like to behave in that environment, what it's like to be responsible not only to yourself and to your role and to the resident or the patient that you're serving, but also to the team and the obligations of the healthcare system, right, that we're all part of. And this allows us to identify and support what I call the, kind of the blips that all of us might have as we navigate how to be an adult. What do they call it? Adulting now? Sort of how do you learn to do that in an effective way? I still need that now, right? All of us are managing that. But this just kind of gives you the extra hand to kind of walk alongside the apprentice as they continue to evolve into their career.
So Maria, many young individuals and their families may not even be aware of the diverse range of apprenticeship opportunities available, or they may hold misconceptions about the quality and value of apprenticeships compared to traditional education pathways. Can you kind of touch on this from your perspective?
Yeah, so first of all, I would tell you, I wish that apprenticeships were more of a thing when I was young. It seemed to me like such an easy way for people to be exposed to sectors that they might not have considered. So many of us sort of know the careers of our family environment, right? Or your sort of circle of that experience. And so we might not have exposure to what it's like to be in, IT or engineering or healthcare or banking or insurance, if that no one in our life is part of that, right? And so I think that this opportunity for people to explore what might be sort of make their heart sing, as I like to say, around the work that they do, just opens up a valley or a sort of mountain of experiences that they would not have had before. And so I would tell you that apprentices are highly valued by the healthcare sector. I know certainly that's true of other sectors, but I can only speak to the healthcare sector. And why is that everyone has skin in the game, right? When you have an apprentice, if you are the employer and you have an apprentice, you have brought as much to the table in terms of time, energy, money, commitment, mentorship, et cetera, as the apprentice is doing. So everyone is fully invested in your success from the very minute you arrive, which is not always true, let's be honest, in a more traditional sort of educational environment or even a sort of a traditional hiring experience, right? Everyone is committed to the success from the employer side, and clearly the apprentices, because they've chosen this as sort of the next step of their exploratory in their development. And it's practical education. Like, this is not like it's important to learn how to think and do and all the wonderful other pieces that we have as we learn and grow educationally. But this is really about, I like to say, putting the pedal to the metal, right? You're making the connection between the theory to the competency, and you're being educated and trained and mentored when it's not going well, right? It's sort of celebrating the successes, but it's also helping you sort of navigate the bumps in that learning process in a real world experience. And that to me is a huge gift to both sides of that equation, both the employer and the apprentice. And I think you're really well prepared as you sort of as you end your apprenticeship and sort of launch into the role. You are so much more prepared in an actual environment, a work environment, than those who pursued a different avenue. Not that those other avenues are bad, but it's just very different, right? You've already connected theory to practicality, which is not always true in a traditional classroom environment. And I think that employers in this day and age are seeing that the value of that is certainly equal to what it's like to be in sort of a more traditional environment. And that in some careers, the practical competency-based experience is more valued from the front end, right? Like you're hitting the ground running in just a different way, which, as we're all experiencing staffing shortage, is to know that I have someone that's just joined my team that's been through this program, that has a whole, year of this experience it just gives you sort of some sense of breathing, like a little breath where you can say like, okay, this person isn't so much of a novice, right? This is sort of a novice plus, right? It's sort of, you're in the next level, which just makes you stand out in your career as you're pursuing your next steps in your growth, right? It sort of gives you the experience that adds to the real work as opposed to just the learning work, which I just think is a benefit.
Great, thank you. It's clear apprenticeships offer a wealth of opportunities for career development and growth. Unfortunately, we're running out of time, but before we go, Maria, do you have any thoughts to tell our youth that might be considering apprenticeship as a future career opportunity?
I highly encourage anyone considering their career options to explore apprenticeships as a viable pathway to a sustainable career. Whether you're a recent high school graduate or you're someone who's looking to make a career change, apprenticeships offer unique opportunities to learn and earn while gaining valuable experience in your chosen field, but really particularly with that support of a mentor along the way. I think that's key. I think besides all of the other really important pieces of the apprenticeship, I think that mentor who's as invested in you as you are in you is a win and really creates immediate success for the apprentices. So I highly encourage anyone to look out there. There's a million different kinds of apprenticeships that are available these days. So I really hope we'll see more involved in the programs as they continue to grow.
So Ashley, do you have any words of wisdom to our youth apprentices on National Youth Apprenticeship Week?
I would just say, even if you're unsure, go for it. Go for it. Take the opportunity to apply to a position that maybe you weren't sure, or maybe you want to explore that. Like that we mentioned earlier, James said you can move to different apprenticeship programs, and you don't have to stick with just one thing. Like, get out there, put yourself out there, be yourself, take your whole self to those interviews and learning about positions, and just be open-minded and take in all the knowledge. Don't let the misconceptions hold you back for pursuing an apprenticeship. It could be the start of an exciting and rewarding career journey.
Well, thanks to both of you all for joining us today. So as I mentioned, we're excited about our first Youth Apprenticeship Week. We hope you guys will join us for Apprenticeship Week. I want to thank my co-host, James Carnes, for all of our guests and all of our guests, but for all of your information and wisdom. As I mentioned earlier, if you want more information on apprenticeships, you can go to hccs.edu/apprenticeship hub. We will see you next time.